I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, whose name is Yahweh in the Paleo Hebrew. Yah means he, Hawa means exist. Bahashem in the name of Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Yah means he, Hawa Shai means delivers. Bahashem is in the name of Rawaka Kwadash, the Holy Spirit, in which Rawaka is spirit and Kwadash is holy. So we say, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Raka Kwadash, or Rawaka Kwadash. This is the brother Sagala coming back again with another lesson. I'm going to do this one on the internet, in which the internet is in the scriptures, if you know what to look for. Also, I want to give double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone for teaching this truth in sincerity. Okay, so I'm going to do this on this video right here from CNBC International, and it's entitled "The Fight Over the Internet Under the Sea." CNBC explains.
There's a good chance that the bits and bytes that make up this video have traveled to you through a fiber optic submarine cable running along the ocean floor. These cables are part of the infrastructure that transmits almost all internet data around the world. And as everyone and everything becomes increasingly reliant on the internet to function, who owns, builds, and ultimately controls this network will be more critical than ever. Internet adaptation has steadily increased over the last couple of decades. Despite it...
Fair use. Just wanted to put that in there. I'm not using this video for any type of monetary gain, just for teaching purposes.
Its creation in the late 1960s, the internet was only widely adopted in 1989 after the invention of the World Wide Web, revolutionizing the way we communicate. Before the rise of mobile devices, internet access was largely limited to expensive and inconvenient desktop computers. But today, it's an indispensable part of our lives. So here's how it works. When you send an email, tweet, or post a photo online, that data is sent through cables, or more commonly, radio waves, to a router or cell phone tower. From there, these signals are sent through a series of fiber optic cables in the form of pulses of light to an internet exchange, which acts like a sorting office. Most data from users in a local area network pass through these hubs in order to connect to other networks. For networks and data centers on the other side of the world, this journey will likely traverse the seabed. These submarine cables crisscross the ocean before arriving at an anonymous-looking building like this. It's called a landing station, and it's the end of the line for the submarine cable before the data continues its journey over land again. To lay a cable across any ocean is a significant feat, but it's not a modern innovation. It's been happening for more than 160 years.
As soon as the cable is passed under the bows, the crew take charge of it.
The invention and widespread use of the electric telegraph, which could carry the dots and dashes of Morse code, led to the first transatlantic telegraph cable between the US and Britain in 1858. By the early 20th century, the dominance of the telegraph was replaced by telephone technology that allowed voices to be carried over wires through electrical signals. Soon, submarine cables were carrying telephone traffic, which were laid worldwide, mostly by telecommunication monopolies such as the British Post Office and the American Telephone and Telegraph, or AT&T. Amidst the dot-com bubble in the 1990s, international consortiums began to invest in submarine cables too.
35 kilometers of fiber optics connects this one dealing room.
These private companies sold or leased the bandwidth to other commercial entities which needed more capacity. The last 10 years have seen a rapid expansion of the network to keep up with the demand for internet services. As of early 2020, there were 406 submarine cables that totaled around 750,000 miles in length, enough to go around the world 30 times. Some lines are relatively short, like the 81-mile Celtics Connect cable between Ireland and the United Kingdom, while others, such as the Asia-America Gateway cable, which runs across the Pacific Ocean, is 12,427 miles long. Packed within these cables are fiber optic strands that transmit data at speeds of more than 100,000 miles per second.
All right, we're going to pause it right here. Now let me go to Psalms, the 19th chapter, because this is the actual chapter and verse in which is talking about the internet for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. This is why I give double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone and the teachers, the prophets, for bringing out these scriptures and explaining these things. Because before I ran into them, I knew about the Bible. You know, I knew some things about the Bible, but you know, that really just opened my eyes to certain things and gave more clarity on what I was reading. So let's get Psalms the 19th chapter. Okay, so we just exited out that video, just paused it briefly to read Psalms 19, and he was explaining about these cables, these undersea cables that they lay, in which, you know, compasses the earth, and they could be so many miles long. They go from one continent to the other, from one body of land to the next through the sea. And not only do they have it through the sea, but they also have it through the air, in which you know, you have the satellite systems bouncing off signals, keep bouncing off the satellite systems. But let's get into Psalm 19 verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. So when it's talking about their line is going out through all the earth, what are they talking about? This networking system, these fiber optic lines, okay, to carry this, to transmit the signal. And this is ultimately, the internet was set up to spread the gospel to the four corners of the earth, and we'll get that in a little while. Verse 4, their line is going out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. Why? Because the internet was set up in these latter days to spread the gospel out, and that's going to, you know, the latter days is also signifies the coming of the day of the Lord. But what events have to happen before the coming day of the Lord? The gospel has to be preached throughout all the earth, and the internet is the one tool in which it does that. One of the primary tools in which it does that, you know, transmitting signals from anywhere, okay? Their line is going out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber. So who's the bridegroom? The bridegroom is Yahushua. Okay, so as much as this word keeps going out, okay, that means the Lord is getting closer, or that day in which the Lord is going to come down on this earth is getting closer, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. So his going forth is from the end of the heavens. So what's set up in the heavens? And we're talking about the atmosphere. We have these satellite systems that bounce signals from ground to air, and then we have this this network of cabling that also transmits signals. His going forth is from verse 6. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. So What is that? There's nothing hid from the heat thereof. Why? Because the internet is exposing a lot of things. Okay, got a lot of exposed videos that's exposing and leaking information. Verse 7, the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. Okay, so that's about it in Psalms 19. So let's get back to this video.
And they carry more than 95% of international data. That's because undersea cables are still the fastest, most reliable, and least costly way to transmit information over vast distances. While the infrastructure on land and underwater is vulnerable to the occasional curious rat or shark, the biggest threat to submarine cables is human activity. In 2011, internet access to the whole of Armenia was severed after an elderly Georgian woman damaged an underground cable while scavenging for copper. While in 2016, a ship dragging its anchor in the English Channel cut 3 undersea internet cables. In some circumstances, though, satellites are needed to deliver the internet. Very remote areas don't have the population density to make an economic case for cabling, so satellites are the preferred option.
So satellites are the preferred option. I should have kept going on that one, but I also
don't like surprises. Proactive notifications from Fidelity keep you tuned in all day long. So when something happens that could affect your portfolio, you can act quickly. That's Decision Tech, only from Fidelity.
100,000 miles per second, and they carry more than 95% of international data. That's because undersea cables are still the fastest, most reliable, and least costly way to transmit information over vast distances. Alphabet has also set their sights on internet balloons to beam the internet to unconnected parts of the world. But even as the web has grown, it has also narrowed in some respects. The rise of the American tech giants in the 21st century meant that Silicon Valley had a reason to invest in these strategic assets. Today, content providers such as Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft own or lease more than half of the global undersea bandwidth. As of 2020, Google has invested in 16 cables that traverse most of the world. Facebook has stakes in 12 that cross both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, while Microsoft and Amazon have funded 5 cables each. As the tech giants expand their global network of data centers, these cables will be essential to meet the demand for their services such as cloud computing and streaming, which require minimal delay and lots of bandwidth. But the ownership of these submarine cables is drawing scrutiny from governments due to security concerns. Some analysts believe it's the latest frontier in the geopolitical...
Okay, I thought he was going to go into more of the satellite type systems, but I kind of missed that little second in which he spoke on that briefly. So let me look up this Elon Musk Starlink system. Starlink infrastructure, Starlink satellites. Because Elon Musk, Starlink explained why SpaceX needs 42,000 satellites. What Elon Musk 42,000 satellites could do to Earth.
Waiting element for SpaceX as well.
Elon Musk has said he's just trying to grab a small percentage of $1 trillion a year telecommunications.
Elon Musk is hoping to send 42,000 of these satellites to space, 15 times the number of operational satellites in orbit today. It's part of Starlink, the expansive constellation from Musk and SpaceX that hopes to bring the world low-latency, high-speed internet, promising no more buffering and nearly instantaneous internet in every corner of the world. But experts worry it may come at a hefty cost for space exploration. Nearly half of the world's population does not have access to the internet, because most internet options require an extensive track of costly underground cables, leaving many rural locations offline. And while satellite internet can reach those areas,
Traditional satellite internet is provided by a bus-sized spacecraft that has launched 22,236 miles into space in orbit around Earth.
That distance means the satellite can reach places that cables can't. But since that one satellite is meant to service a lot of people, its data capability is limited, which then limits connection speeds. And that signal has to travel a long way, creating a lot of lag. This is where Elon Musk and SpaceX come in.
Starlink is a globe-encircling network of internet beaming satellites that is trying to get you online no matter where you are in the world.
So let's read this Psalm 19 again, starting at verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So this, although the Lord has men setting these things up, the Lord actually is the one who gave them these ideas to do his will, because it says in Psalm, not Psalm, but actually Proverbs, I believe the 20th chapter, that the man's goings are of the Lord. Okay, man's goings are of the Lord. So the Lord have this set up. Yahweh Shem Yahushai has set this up to do his work. Although people are thinking, okay, this is my work, Elon is thinking this is his project that he wants to set up. But why is he doing this? Because they ultimately want to set up something called the mark of the beast, in which the mark of the beast is going to connect they plan on connecting every man, woman, child, whatever, every human to the internet, okay, via implantable chips. And that's going to be a way of digital serfdom or digital slavery. So this is why Elon is doing this, but this is also the Most High's plan, okay? This is the Most High's plan to separate the wheat from the chaff, because most people are going to take this mark of the beast. And this is just they're setting up the infrastructure for the mark of the beast. And also, I believe these concoctions that they're putting in people's arms are actually setting up, from this thing that's been going on, this plague that's been striking the world, and then they've been giving people these medicines. I believe that's setting up, a networking system within people's bodies, because if you actually look at these clots that these so-called medicines are causing within the body, I believe it's just a fiber optic system that they're bioengineering within people's bodies. So whoever survives it is going to be like the primer to a paint job, okay? So when they set the chip up, so when they insert the chip inside the person's body, they'll already have the fiber optic network system within their body. So just like you can have a phone, and that has all of the fiber optics set up in it, but you won't be able to connect or make a phone call, connect to the network, until you actually have the chip inside the phone. So let's continue reading. Verse 2, day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. Let's continue.
A rather persuading element for SpaceX as well.
Elon Musk has said he's just trying to grab a small percentage of $1 trillion a year telecommunications industry around the world. If SpaceX can pull this off, the company could net about $30 to $50 billion a year.
Musk and SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell say that much money could single-handedly fund the development of Starlink, Starship, and SpaceX's Mars launch infrastructure.
So let's get it. This Proverbs chapter 20, verse 24. Man's going are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? So yeah, these people, they have a plan, okay? So let's also get Psalms the 64th chapter. Let's get Psalm 64. Because they have an evil plan. And this is why they're setting up this whole network to bring high-speed internet to rural areas, because a lot of these rural areas can't even afford computers or even up-to-date phones. So what are they planning? Why do they need high-speed internet? Because they want to connect everybody to the internet eventually. They want to connect people's bodies to the internet to make them what? A digital slave. That's going to be the new way to enslave people. So let's get Psalm 64. You know, and you can read about that mark of the beast in Revelation, the 13th chapter. So this Psalm 64, verse 1. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongues like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Okay, so what is the secret counsel of the wicked? This is part of the secret counsel, this laying of the internet for these mischievous plans that they have to connect everybody's person, everybody's physical body to the internet, and also to lay these fiber optic networks in people's body via injections. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. So what is privily? That means privately. So when you have like these secret council meetings, if you've ever heard of the Bilderbergers, you got these other organizations where they have meetings and they discuss what they plan on doing in the next 10, 20 years and what direction that they want the world to go into. But really, all of these plans is to subjugate the true people of God, in which the true people of God, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, all other people, you know, that through their lineage connect to Israel, their forefather Jacob. Okay, in which when I say Negro, Latino, Native American, it doesn't just fall within those categories or those demographics, but a lot of people are bloodline Israelites. Okay, so there could be a person that looks like a white person, but you know, through his bloodline or through his lineage, through his family tree, he leads up to being one of the 12 tribes. They encourage, verse 5, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. So we talking about resources allocated to these research projects and, you know, all types of wickedness that they look up. Yeah, human cloning, you know. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. You know, that they do clinical trials for their so-called medicines, okay, in which they experiment on people. They experiment on animals. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly they shall be wounded. And what's these arrows? This arrow is eventually going to be World War III, nuclear holocaust. Okay. Let's get this a little bit more.
As of early October, SpaceX has launched more than 700 satellites into orbit, with a plan to release a total of 12,000 over the next 5 years, half of them by the end of 2024. And Musk wants to add another 30,000 to that, coming to a total of 42,000 satellites circling Earth. All of these satellites will also be much closer, anywhere from 200 to 400 miles above the planet in low Earth orbit.
This reduces the connection delay that is found with traditional internet satellite.
Once in orbit, these Starlink satellites will be constantly on the move, which is why so many are necessary.
The problem is you have to have many satellites orbiting to make up for the fact that you can't stay in one spot above the Earth, because you need several satellites overhead at any one time to cover many users.
Every satellite will connect with several others via laser beams, creating something like the network's backbone. And to actually bring this internet into your home, you'll need to get...
Okay, so the heavens show its handiwork. Okay, when we're talking about the heavens, we're just talking about the atmosphere, and I'm going to leave off here in Matthew, the 24th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 11. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And you have many false prophets. A lot of people rising up saying that they're God, that they know where God is, that they know God, that, preaching white Jesus, everything. You seeing them. I forget that what's the clique with that brother? He was leading all of these women calling him God. Carbon Nation, things like that. You had that Jim Jones thing back in the 80s where he led all of them people to, I believe, the island called Guyana, had them drink that poison laced Kool-Aid. So there's going to be a rise of many more of these people that's saying that they're God, or that's saying false things like speaking peaceable things, when we know that it's nothing but troublous times ahead. Verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Verse 14, this is the point right here. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So what's doing the heavy lifting for the gospel to be preached in unto the ends of the world? This internet. Okay? So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, glory to the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, and Shalom. Hopefully this was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, peace.